Hello, Bill Molyneux here with Bill's History World with Goober the Traveling Bear. And oh my goodness, we're at the Baltimore Museum of Industry. And Goober and I are going to go in and check out the museum. So, this is a museum of industry in Baltimore. And let me tell you, there's a lot of stuff here to see. Alright, if you're wondering, the Domino sugar sign is right there, and that's pretty famous. Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with Baltimore, when you're on the highways, the sweet sign of Domino sugar, and when I entered this area, I actually already did a thing of the Domino sugar sign. At night, this thing is lit up. It's quite impressive. You have to include that, and the Domino sugar. Well, as you walk into the Baltimore Museum of Industry, you're greeted by a very, very nice, helpful staff. They are very informative. They give you all the information you need to know and where to go, and for your guided tours. They have a gift shop here, and expect to spend several hours visiting the Baltimore Museum of Industry. There is a lot more here to see than you might realize. And we'll continue exploring throughout the museum. Okay, we are inside the Baltimore Museum of Industry, and this is the room to the right. And I am amazed at what they have here. Right now I'm in a room a tour just went through, so we are just gonna walk around and do some snippets. Baltimore's gas and electric. Okay. All the neon signs are really neat. So we're going to go along the left side. Electricity comes to Baltimore. Electricity came to Baltimore in 1881 when the Brush Electric Light Company opened branches in major American cities to furnish lighting to businesses and homes. Wow, that would generate some electricity. Okay, as you can already gather, you could spend the day here. So we're going to just try to do snippets to entice you to visit the museum. Alright, the world's first disposable standard bottle cap. Wow. The Crown Cork and Seal Company. As I go along this timeline, the first practical submarine, White and Middleton marine gas engine. Wow. Simon Lake's Agronaut. It's amazing. There's the interior of the submarine. I guess there's more here to see than I anticipated, because as I look up, there is a seaplane up there. Holy cow. Alright. The Baltimore Museum of Industry has a lot to offer. Wow. If you need your roads worked on, they have this steam engine. Quite amazing. Let's see where the placard is. Make sure I'm giving you correct information. It looks like it's run by coal. says, please do not touch. I'm old and cranky. So, very cool machine. And you got to admit, it's pretty cool to see a seaplane hanging from the ceiling also. Now when I'm here at the museum looking out, you can see that it's the Baltimore Harbor is out there. The Glenn L. Martin China Clipper. I believe the China Clipper flew to Wake Island. Now, like in all my videos, we are just doing snippets because we're trying to entice people to visit these wonderful historic sites. So here we have the docks in Baltimore. Very nice. The displays here are stunning. Well, I really need to mention there's audio-visual theaters all through this museum. Of course, with what I do, we're not going to be visiting all of them on this video. That's for you to come and visit yourself. So, this is another wall of incredible information regarding the steel workers. And you look up and there's molted steel, blast furnace road. All right, the Steel Workers of America. I believe it was Bethlehem Steel, and sell protective clothing to work in the steel industry. Mass marketing, mass production. Now, if you remember one of my videos in Gloucester Point, Virginia, their museum had a bell for their African American school, and that was manufactured here in Baltimore, which is pretty nifty. All right, let's go into another room. Wow. WMAR TV. This is a communications, telephone, and television room, and it has a neat little theater in it. And the Baltimore Museum of Industry has got a lot to see. These TV sets are do not touch. So I'm making sure Goober the Traveling Bear is behaving himself. And okay, we have to take a look at this phone. Being that I'm 60, we grew up, of course, with a rotary phone. But there are people now in our new age who probably wouldn't know how to dial with that very well. All right, just a stunning display in here. There's so much to read and see on so many topics. Let's continue on. Well, this museum is just phenomenal, and I found Baltimore Stories in Technicolor, a movie theater. I've lost Goober the Traveling Bear. Oh my goodness, there he is. He's in the movie theater watching a movie. Well, this is just a phenomenal room. This is made up as a movie theater. And so much to see here. And Goober is already saying this is more than 2 paws up. And Goober is wearing his official BMI sticker, so he is legal as he visits the museum. Well, here we have the shipyard bell. And this bell was rung for the men working on the docks, 1850. It would be start of work around sunrise for the beginning and end of lunch hour, and the workday's end. The city paid the bell ringer $200 a year to ring the bell. I guess it'd be about 4 times a day. It was set up at located at Federal Hill. So that's up on the hill above the harbor, so I'm sure you would hear it well carrying across the countryside. And as I've been mentioning, this museum is incredible. So we are cruising along. So much to see. So here we have how tin cans of soup or tomatoes or peaches would be canned in this, and going up the conveyor belt, up and around and down. Sort of like a mousetrap game. All right, there was more than 100 canneries that once lined Baltimore's waterfront. Only one building has survived, the one we're standing in. Wow. So canneries were a real big deal in Baltimore, making canned food. So here's the machine that takes the cans down to get them, what's it, pasteurized, I believe. We can look and see the cooking, and you worked at your own pace, but it was up to you. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it. Then you didn't have any money at the end of the day. Well, we have lathes here. Now, believe it or not, my father worked at IBM, International Business Machines, and before they made computers, they made clocks, typewriters, and guns. And my father was a lathe worker, and he made a lot of guns in his day. And here we have a metal shop, and very impressive. Just stunning of all they have to offer in this museum. So our hard-working metal workers, a lot of this is no longer done here in America, and we do have the blacksmith's anvil. Oh my goodness, I can't express enough. I keep saying it, but there's a lot to see in this museum. You know, I encountered a seaplane, and now I have an entire room full of vehicles, and let's check them out. Now, what's cool about this one is it says please touch. So, of course, I am unfamiliar with the type of vehicle this is. I know there are a ton of people out there that would say that is an XYZ Buick or Pontiac or whatever, and we're going to look for the placard. So you can actually climb in this vehicle, it looks like, and service with a smile. Now, in the old days, and I remember the old days, they actually would check your oil, fill up your gas tank, check your tires, now there's not even a person working at the gas station at some places. It's totally automated. Complete car service. Well, American Oil, Amoco Gas, and there's an old style gas pump. And so let's check out our pickup truck. Our pickup truck looks like it's moving. In 1947, there were some 6.5 million trucks and tractors, semis in the U.S. Today, there are more than 130 million transporting food. All right, during the energy crisis in the 70s, and fuel was hard to get even, odd days with license plates or even. This is one of the first electric cars, and it's interesting. It's like a little goober mobile. Let's go look at the placard for it. And you know, I haven't mentioned there are placards for everything here. So the electric vehicle, older than you think, 1890s, and here's a picture of these electric cars here. And a lot of people, you know, weren't around in the 70s, don't realize, as they have here, all the issues with gasoline in the 70s. And really brings back some memories. I was a kid when that was going on, and it was a real big deal. Well, I've lost Goober again. I don't know where he's ran off to. You know, he's, oh my goodness, there he is. All right, Goober. I know you're allowed to be in the car and check it out. It's got the shifting levers, quite the old dashboard full of chrome. Very cool that they allow the visitors at this museum to check out a car that's the size of a small boat nowadays. My neighborhood drugstore. Now, one of the most interesting things I've done in all my museum work is doing these videos was going to the Don Knotts Museum in Morgantown, West Virginia. They had a huge collection of medicine bottles there that the hospital no longer could store in their museum there, so they gave it to the Don Knotts Museum. So they had display case after display case of medicine bottles. Sort of like those. Now, if you're wondering what those are prescription receipts. The pharmacist would take those and keep them, and I've seen several pharmacies with those. All right, well, this museum is astounding. Here we have parasols, umbrellas. So I gather the Penguin from Batman and Robin fame would be visiting here. Look at all the hard-working women here making these umbrellas. Quite impressive, and very fancy work on some of these. So here are some of the handles. Very, very nice exhibit here. I'm learning so much here at the Baltimore Museum of Industry. Okay, we're in the printing room, and John Henry Murphy Sr. was born enslaved in 1840 in Baltimore. After serving the United States colored troops during the Civil War, he worked as a printer manager at a church publication, the Sunday School Helper. In 1892, his wife, Martha Elizabeth Howard, lent him $200 to purchase the Bulletin. He merged it with two other church publications, the Ledger and the Afro-American. The newspaper was named the Baltimore Afro-American, the Afro. It became a launching pad for black journalists, and Hughes, Williams, Horthy, and Sam Lacey integrated into sports amongst its staff. Murphy's granddaughter, Elizabeth B. Murphy Moss, was the first black woman certified as an overseas correspondent during World War II. What a wonderful story. And the Afro is still led by descendants of John Henry Murphy Sr., making it the longest running black-owned family newspaper in the nation. And there he is again. And let's see, I have some glare. We'll try to see how we can get around that. That's wonderful. We have Douglas on the wall. So there's a lot of history here. And as they say, the pen or the printed word is mightier than the sword. So a lot of history was made at the Baltimore Banner. Well, we're in the clothing textile room, and as you can see, people would be sewing like mad. And I have some dead airspace at times because there's just so much to see. I forget to do my narration. So I hope you're enjoying this little glimpse of this incredible museum. I would think there's a picture of how crammed everyone was placed in these shirt factories, or whatever you want to call them. And yes, I've seen these pictures before. I mean, there's hardly any room to even breathe, stuffed in there and sewing like mad. The museum's done a fantastic job on having these photos also. The human interest stories of these different areas. Well, there are some really neat exhibits outside. Hopefully the wind won't be too bad on this, but I'm just throwing this in on the tail end. So you got to come to the Baltimore Museum of Industry. So much to see, so much. It's really amazing. All right, and I already did my closeout. This is an add-on snippet. Well, Goodbird likes to say the Baltimore Museum of Industry is awesome, and you have to visit. It has so much to offer in so many ways. Education on the history of Baltimore and all the people that work so hard in all the different jobs, from the steel workers to the umbrella makers to the printing people to the metal shop people. It's really endless. And this mural they have at the end of this hallway is just really nice. So, like always, stay safe, be kind, be courteous, and visit the Baltimore Museum of Industry. It has a lot to offer, and plan on spending a good couple hours here. Thank you again. Stay safe, be kind, and be courteous.